I want to take you to this Romesh Sharma. In your book, you have these conversations with your alter ego, which is a very interesting conversation. Jo hota hai. And in one, you mention this guy. He was a politician or don with connections with international mafia, with Dawood Ibrahim. People have forgotten Romesh Sharma. People know about the other cases. They know about Charles Sobraj. So वो अगली बारी मैं डिस्कस करूँगी. मुझे रोमेश शर्मा की कहानी बताइए.
Romesh Sharma ki his life itself was, I think, let's say, pretty fascinating from the point of view he was rags to riches story.
हाँ. कोई पिक्चर बनी है उसके?
नहीं बनी.
नहीं ना आज तक?
I don't think there is any kind of film or any documentary, anything like that on Romesh Sharma. Poor man. He did
अभी
so
वो
much.
अनुराग कश्यप ये देखता होगा और वो पिक्चर जरूर बनाएंगे वो.
I'm very sad
or
about
maybe
him.
Tigmanshu Dhulia will make
He did
it.
so much in life and his life was so interesting, so colorful also, let me inform you. So colorful in many ways, starting from a small town, from a village in Uttar Pradesh. And then when he comes to Delhi, then he is selling these hangers and all, that kind of thing. He had no money or no qualification. Except that he had some technical knowledge he had developed. Kunjum Budhiraja, poor girl, she was also killed by him only, I think, ultimately. I mean, I do not know what court verdicts was. And she was a very sweet, beautiful and very young girl whom we examined because she was very much present while we arrested him and while we investigated him. Going back to his life and his story. So, he came from nowhere. And he was an ordinary boy from a small village, came from an ordinary family. No symptoms of these kind of activities in his life. These opportunities were not with him. And then he came to Delhi and in the old Delhi area, he sold these hangers and all. That's what he was doing. Then he went to Bombay and Bombay opened up his world. I mean, he was essentially a mafia because of Bombay, isn't it? He was a politician because he kept on coming to Delhi, he kept on going to other places because he had very strong political inclinations. He wanted to be something very important through politics. And as I mentioned that in Bombay, very soon he came in contact with Vardabhai.
Vardarajan Mudliar.
Vardarajan Mudliar. And then before that, he had already became friendly with a person who was in business. And they together made some money. And then that was in a more his life of entrepreneurship, where he tried to do something in a proper way. Wanted to establish himself as a businessman, as someone who could produce and who could earn money out of business. That was he doing. But his world was different. His aspirations were very, very different. And he met Vardabhai at a time when Vardarajan Mudliar had Dawood coming up. And
there was that whole Haji Mastan,
correct.
Karim Lala, Dawood thing which was going on at that stage.
But Vardaraj Mudliar was like a big boss.
Yeah.
And he was very important. And he was one of those characters from South who created a world of their own in Bombay. And Bombay's mafia became so prominent partly because of Vardabhai. He was one of those important persons. And he had this fellow Dawood as one of his very active persons. And the other side, Romesh Sharma. So, Vardabhai, Dawood, Romesh Sharma, two characters who were very close to him. And Dawood did whatever the world knows about him. And this fellow kept on dabbling between politics and the mafia together.
Property का भी काम.
Property का तो बहुत किया. Property का he acquired property, he snatched property and all that stuff. And then in Delhi, he did the same thing. He created a base in Delhi. His Delhi base was primarily for the reason that he wanted to be politically very important. He wanted to be a politician. And actually, there was a party of which he became president and several political parties he joined, he left. And then he developed contacts with a lot of politicians.
But this is at a time when people knew कि ये दाऊद के साथ इसके contacts हैं and still he was part of the political system.
That's correct. That's correct. इसके contact लगातार थे और people knew also about it. Actually, in several, the police has system of tracking call records and those systems are there. And it was known that he was in contact with the international mafia and the Dawood's group, he was in contact with him.
This is after the blast. After the Bombay bomb blast.
Yes, after Bombay blast.
In spite of that, this man is in touch with Dawood.
That's correct.
And politicians are in touch with
Yes.
Romesh Sharma.
It's a fact. It's a fact. And it was not something which was a big secret. It was a known fact that he was connected to Bombay Mafia. It was a known fact that he is a don and he is a kind of person who is a property grabber and applies third degree in a lot of people. And as you know what happened.
Farm में कहीं रहता था ना?
Correct.
Mehroli अब तो नहीं कहाँ पे farm.
Mata something.
Anyway,
So that farm is there in Mehroli. And then this particular case, that famous helicopter case, which opened him up because see, he fought an election and he had acquired this helicopter for election campaigning. And then after that, when they wanted to take back the helicopter, he said, no, helicopter is mine. And then applied his force and everything else and got the helicopter dismantled and then brought to Delhi and Jai Mata Di farm where his place was there, the helicopter was parked there and then we seized it from there only, from that place. That is one part of it. Now he was very close to then India's biggest industrial house then and today, the big boss, the group president of Reliance, you know it very well. And then they were quite close, friendly to each other. And then what happened that this helicopter he wanted to sell off to them. And there were already two companies in which there was one Reliance Estate and Reliance Property kind of names were there. We conducted a raid. In the office, the Connaught Place office of Reliance. And then because he said that the documents of the helicopter was lying there. And those documents were recovered from there. And incidentally, a case in Official Secrets Act was also registered because of that incident. That's a long story. So this fellow was so close to people in the world, in the corporate world, he was so close to Dhirubhai's people, he was very close to them. And actually, Dhirubhai's son-in-law who was in Goa, he was also being threatened from time to time. And whether he protected them or not protected them, but the fact remains that some kind of protection he gave to them also.
It was a time and era when all industrialists had, or not all, it's a sweeping statement to make, but industrialists had links with the mafia in Bombay. It was impossible to survive in Bombay without having one or two of these guys for doing their work. Is that it?
A person like him came very handy because he had very deep connections in politics. He very easily used to travel. That's correct. With lot of very top politicians, he used to go with them. Somebody's car is driving, somebody is escorting, somebody is entertaining. You understand? Like, the big boss from Bihar, the chief minister, he was quite friendly with him. And in Bombay also, a lot of other very important politicians, when they used to go to Bombay, somehow he managed to be close. And so his political links and political activities were quite prominently in his life, and he used it to the hilt. That is one. And the second point you said, which is very important, the connect of corporate with the mafia, not for the reason that they wanted to be friendly with mafia, but for the simple reason that they could threaten them.
Yeah.
And they used to extort money.
Or docs were,
that's correct.
A lot of the docs were in control of some of these mafia guys at that time.
Doc area, that's correct.
Yeah.
That was a big story. That went on and on.
Yeah.
And this fellow being close to the mafia, and initially being groomed as a mafia person, or with Varda Bhai or Dawood and all that, this fellow had a role to play there. So he was a very peculiar combination, which was not with others. You will not come across anybody who on the one hand was a political person, and he was very, very active political person with huge political aspirations. He said it that he wanted to become member of parliament, and Raj Sabha was the thing he wanted to get actually. He was very keen
election bhi lada tha,
election lada tha. He lost it though. In that election only he got that helicopter. So that is one part of it. Second part, that being friendly with lot of politicians, he also got in contact with politicians for the simple reason that he would like to protect them, he would like to help them. They wanted his services. Corporate on the third side, as you know that some of the business, he was quite close to them, and then he was giving them semblance of protection, etc. So that kind of bundle of activities that he carried around himself is something which makes him very special, or perhaps which a different kind of, criminal. He was a criminal having political links, mafia, and property dealings, as you said.
Yeah.
And there he took fullest advantage of his mafia connections in his property dealings. And he forcibly deprived many people of their properties, several in Delhi, which we investigated.
So what happened ultimately to him?
We registered nearly 18-19 cases against him when we arrested him, and everything opened up because in his house, there was
Mayfair Garden or something.
Mayfair Garden.
Again, the reason I'm bringing these addresses is because your life somehow revolves around very elite areas of
Although
Delhi.
I'm not an elite person at all.
but I guess your line of work or whatever, you picked up people from all these areas jahan pe multiple 100 crores ki properties
I know.
Huh.
His house in Mayfair Garden was a very important, very big house, and there, when we went and we searched the house and we were investigating, there was a rack kind of thing in which there were 10-15 keys were lying, car keys, and they all belonged to him.
Okay.
All those cars, the most fancy vehicles in those times were with him. Some of the houses' keys were also there. And that lady called Kunjum Budhiraja, who happened to be his girlfriend that time, and that lady ultimately was killed because she claimed that she was married to him. And she used to go to his farmhouse. And he was in jail after that because we never let him out. And then finally she was killed. And as was mentioned that he organized that kind of murder of his girlfriend, whoever she was. So it made a very, very peculiar story, you understand.
Yeah.
I mean, these kind of activities.
But he didn't get accused, he didn't pay the price of murdering her or getting, because he was in jail.
He was charged. He was charged for the murder. And the trial went on. But then finally, perhaps in the court, it could not get proved, established to that extent.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा.
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है.
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दो?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब.
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप.
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI. It does not lie.